Today, I bring you an update with one of Canada's persecuted doctors, persecuted for telling you the other side of the story when it comes to all things COVID-19, and that is none other than Dr. Charles Hoffe.
The college really needs to be held to account. Their job is to protect the public, and they have utterly failed. And in fact, they've become the opposite of what they're supposed to do. Rather than holding doctors ethically accountable, they now persecute ethical doctors. So people need to keep sending letters of complaint to hold them accountable for their persecution of me and Dr. Nagasi and Dr. Malthouse and all these other doctors. And we need to keep the pressure up until all of the COVID charges are dropped and all of the mandates are dropped, because this is absurd. It's now clearly apparent that almost everything that the public health and the authorities and the legacy media told us about COVID, almost all of it has turned out to be untrue.
Drea Humphrey here with Rebel News, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's certainly not just the brilliant Dr. Jordan Peterson who's being attacked in some ways from his licensing body. No, there have been many medical professionals in Canada, especially those who dared to tell you anything other than the state-approved narrative on all things COVID-19. And one of the first doctors to speak out in the whole country is Dr. Charles Hoffe from Lytton, BC. It seems like eons ago, but back in 2021 was when I first introduced you to Dr. Hoffe. He had written an open letter to British Columbia's public health officer, Dr. Henry, after his patients were having some reactions to you know what. Of course, I'll link that original interview in the description box below, but flash forward to 2023, and I'm now bringing you an update on the investigation, the trial that Dr. Hoffe has to go under from his licensing body, his college, for spreading misinformation. Now, if you haven't heard about Jordan Peterson's plight, it's making Canada sort of a laughingstock, to be honest. You can find out more and take action at savepeterson.com. But for now, let's hear from Dr. Hoffe.
All right, Dr. Charles Hoffe. Many of the people watching know who you are. You've been right at the front lines when it comes to defending freedom of choice, as well as pushing for more transparency with everything we've seen over the last couple of years with COVID. Thanks for being back on Rebel News.
Well, thank you, Drea. It's a privilege and an honor to be interviewed by you. So thank you very much.
Now, many people I've seen prayer requests going around about you and your upcoming battle that's scheduled in a couple of days here. Lots of concerns going on. So how are you feeling about your upcoming investigation with your college?
Yeah, well, I mean, as many people know, my trial has been scheduled for 13th to the 27th of February. So this has been long awaited. The college here in BC issued a statement back in, I think it was May of 2021, that doctors were not allowed to say anything that contradicted the public health narrative. In other words, anything that contradicted the political agenda from public health was considered misinformation and misleading. Mm-hmm. So they basically said, as a doctor, you no longer have freedom of speech and you can no longer hold to any alternative scientific viewpoints. And if you do, you will be guilty of misconduct and will be investigated and, if necessary, punished. So I am guilty of what they would call misconduct, because I went public on what I saw these shots doing to my own patients.
If you're hearing this, that means you're watching this particular report on YouTube. So I've cut off Dr. Hoffe to remind you that this platform you're watching on is full of censorship, and we actually can't bring you the full truth. So if you go to the description box below and click on the link, you'll get the full uncensored interview with Dr. Hoffe.
Let us know in the comments what you think about Dr. Hoff's challenges. To find out more and to reach out to his college, you can click on the article in the description box below. And also, we have a special website set up with an email already pre-written for you. You can send that off in one click by going to savepeterson.com. Again, that's savepeterson.com if you want to fight for freedom of speech.